Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things, and welcome to another video. And today I have for you a Booktuber meetup vlog and also a bit of a book haul. Right, so hello and good morning. I'm about to head off to a Booktube meetup, which I'm very excited about. The weather is absolutely terrible today. I feel like you can probably hear the rain in the background on the windows, so I don't know. I feel like we're all gonna get very wet, but you know, that'll be fine. It'll be fun. We will go to lots of bookshops and buy some books. I think there should be about 20 of us, 25 of us, so that should be really nice. And yeah, I will try and vlog a little bit. Last time I forgot to vlog because I was chatting so much, and also the weather is probably not very conducive to vlogging as we walk between bookshops, so I'll see how I go, but I'll try and vlog a bit today, and I will probably do a haul later in this video. And that's all for now, and I'll check in again later. So hello again. Hopefully you have just been watching some clips of me and 20 other booktubers traipsing around East London and going to lots of exciting bookshops. I had a really lovely time at the Booktuber meetup. It was so fun. There were 21 of us and we went to quite a few different bookshops in East London, and we went to quite a few bookshops I hadn't been to before, which was really nice. So we went to Libraria and Brick Lane Bookshop and the Common Press near Brick Lane. I had been to the first two before, but I hadn't been to the Common Press before, and I really liked it. We then tried to go to Jam Bookshop, but it was shut. We then went out for lunch, and then we went to Hoxton Books, which I hadn't been to before, which I really liked. And then after that, we got the bus further up north and went to Ink 84, House of Hodge, and Book Bar. I'd been to the latter two before, but I hadn't been to Ink 84 before. And Ink 84 is really nice. It's a bookshop and a cafe, and it was really lovely. So it was especially nice to go to some of the bookshops I hadn't been to before. That was just really fun. I tried to be relatively restrained in my book buying because my TBR is a bit out of control at the moment, and I'm trying to not add too much to it, but I did end up getting 3 things, 2 of which are pretty thin and the other of which isn't too big either. So first I'll tell you about the 3 books that I bought on the Booktuber meetup, and then I have a few other books I have got recently to talk to you about as well, which I thought I would just add into this video. So the first book I bought was from Libraria, and that was this. This is Jaguar Nana by Cypriana Kwenzi. This is a Nigerian classic from 1961 set in Lagos, following a woman called Jaguar Nana who is living a life of hedonism and is trying to fund her young boyfriend Freddie's education. This sounds really, really interesting, and I really love this cover. I was very excited to spot this in Libraria because one of my goals for this year, my international classics goal, I have a few different countries that I'm trying to read classics from, one of which is Nigeria, so it was good to spot this, and I feel like this will be a really, really interesting read. I have read one Nigerian classic so far this year, which is also from the kind of 1950s, 1960s, but that was very surreal and sounds exceptionally different to this, so I feel like it would be really nice to read a very, very different book, but from a very similar time period, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it should be a really interesting read. Then in Hoxton Books I picked up this. This is Here Be Icebergs by Katja Adawe, translated from the Spanish by Rosalind Harvey. This is a Peruvian short story collection, mostly exploring the theme of family, and that sounds really, really interesting to me. I really, really like short stories, and I'm trying to read more translated fiction and more fiction from around the world, so I thought this would be a really interesting book to pick up, and again, a pretty short one, so hopefully I'll get to this soon. Then finally, I bought one book in Bookbar, and that was this. This is Wandering Souls by Cecile Pinn, and this was one of those ones where I was considering it, and then booktubers around me were saying how much they loved it, especially Roz from Scully Dandling about the books, and so I felt encouraged to buy it, and I'm very excited to read it because I do think I'll really love it. It is set in the 1970s and 80s and follows a family's journey after they leave Vietnam after the Vietnam War and travel, I think, via lots of different places to the UK. I just keep hearing amazing things about Wandering Souls, and it sounds like the kind of book I would really enjoy. It's not very long, but I do hear that it is quite heavy. I think it is a very sad novel, so I don't know whether that means it'll be a slightly slower read. How soon I will read it, we will see, but I'm very excited for this one and it sounds amazing. Then I have a few more books to show you that I've acquired recently, and I'll start off with what I got from Elenas Bookshop. If any of you don't watch Milena from Milena Reads, then you absolutely should. She has a wonderful booktube channel that I've been watching for years and absolutely love. She has fantastic taste in books, and she reads a lot of classics, which obviously I really enjoy, and she has recently set up an online bookshop called Elenas Bookshop. I'll leave links down below to the bookshop itself and also to her video introducing it, and through her bookshop Milena sells classics, both new editions and second-hand editions, and part of the kind of point behind her bookshop is that it's quite hard when you're buying classics online to know that you're getting the right edition that you want with the cover that you want, and you can see very clearly on Milena's website like which edition of the book you would be getting. And I wanted to buy something from her bookshop because it sounds really cool, and so I bought myself a copy of A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. So I have read this before, but I didn't own a physical copy, and I thought it would be nice to. I in general slightly struggle with Virginia Woolf's novels. They're a little bit too stream of consciousness for my taste, but I really loved A Room of One's Own, which is a non-fiction essay about women writers, and the title comes from the fact that Virginia Woolf says what a person needs to write is money and a room of one's own, and that is something that historically women often haven't had. And this is a work of non-fiction that's just really stayed with me, so it's really nice to have a physical copy, and I really like this little edition. And then I also bought myself quite a lot of bookish postcards from Elena's Bookshop because she had just a lot of really cool bookish postcards, and I really enjoy bookish postcards. So first we have some like general bookish postcards, and this actually was a set of 4, but one is already pinned to my pin board, so I'm not going to take it off just to show you. And I ordered those postcards initially with A Room of One's Own, but then Milena did a restock, and I saw that she had some more bookish postcards, including a set of Jane Austen postcards, which I then felt I had to buy. So I mean, look, aren't they really beautiful? Here we have Mansfield Park, here we have Emma, here we have Persuasion, Northanger Abbey, and here we have Sense and Sensibility, and also Pride and Prejudice, and they just look really, really beautiful, and obviously I love Jane Austen and really enjoy bookish postcards, so I'm very excited to have them. And then I saw my favourite bookish postcards that I think I've ever seen, which are like literary location postcards. So here we have a postcard from Wonderland, we have one for Pemberley, very, very excellent, that one I definitely need to pin somewhere. We have one for Neverland, we have one for Narnia, we have one for Mordor, you know, excellent location to send a postcard from, and we have one for the Emerald City, and I just feel like these are really, really, really fun. I don't have space on my pin board to pin all of these postcards, so I think I need to get myself some like pegs or like put them wrap around my bookshelves, but I'm just very excited to own them. They seem really fun, so yeah, I'm very excited about that. Please do go and have a look at Elenas Bookshop. It is really, really cool. Then next I have a couple of review copies that I've been sent lately. So here we have The King's Witches by Kate Foster, which I have already read. I just finished this yesterday, and this was fantastic. So I really loved Kate Foster's first novel, The Maiden, and I was really excited to read her second book, which I also loved. So this is a work of historical fiction set in the late 16th century, and we're following 3 different women, one of whom is a princess of Denmark who is being sent to Scotland to marry King James VI of Scotland, and she moves from Denmark to Scotland at a time where there is growing panic about witchcraft both in Scotland and in Denmark. We also follow her lady's maid, Kirsten, and then we're also following a young housemaid called Jura, whose mother has recently passed away. Her mother was a cunning woman or a healer, and Jura also knows a little bit about healing, which is, you know, probably gonna lead her into trouble in the increasing panic around witchcraft. I really enjoyed how these 3 stories weave together, and I really enjoyed the stories of all of these 3 women. I will say that one thing I really enjoyed about The King's Witches, which I also really enjoyed in The Maiden, is that in The Maiden it's kind of set up as one woman's story, and then the secondary character sort of almost becomes the main character. And The King's Witches kind of does a similar thing with shifting around the weightings of the 3 characters and kind of who becomes more interesting and important as the story goes on. And I just really enjoyed that. Like, I just think that's a really clever way of doing this kind of story, and I just really enjoyed the like links between all of these women, and I thought the ending was really interesting. And I feel like this book just looked at like the complexities of the kind of witch trials in Scotland in a really interesting way, and also tied in the witch trials with kind of royal intrigue in a way that was really interesting. You know, I feel like there are a lot of books out there about witch trials, so it's always really interesting where they have a very different element, and the kind of royal intrigue and Anna's kind of relationship with King James, and all the kind of court stuff was really interesting here. So I just thought this was great. I've gone on about it for quite a while, but this was a really good read and definitely one I recommend. And then another book that I have been sent for review that I haven't yet read is this. This is Estella's Revenge by Barbara Havelock, which is a retelling slash sequel, I guess, to Great Expectations from the perspective of the character of Estella. I am really interested to read this. I am excited. I am a little bit wary. I feel like I love Great Expectations so much that either I'm going to really love this or I'm going to be like, no, that's not how I read Estella. There's one or two ways it can go, really, isn't it? But, you know, I'm excited to read it. I think Estella's a really interesting character, so this should be a really interesting read. So those are all the books that I have acquired lately, but I did realise when sitting down to film this that I have pre-ordered a book which should arrive in the next, like, week or two, so I thought I might as well mention it here because I'll probably have read it by the time I do another book haul, and that is The Mars House by Natasha Pulley, which is Natasha Pulley's new novel, which is not historical fiction but science fiction set on Mars, about 2 people who I think enter into like a marriage of convenience in order to promote both of their careers. I love Natasha Pulley so much. She's probably my favourite living author, and I've loved all 5 of her novels so far so much, so I am very, very excited for this one. It sounds a little bit different, but I just think it's going to be amazing. That will probably arrive with me in the next week or two, and I am sure that I will read it very soon because I'm just very excited for it. So I thought I would just mention it here because I'm probably not going to do another book haul for a couple of months, and I'm just, yeah, very excited about that one. So there we go. Those are all the books that I've acquired lately. I'm excited to read the books that I haven't read already. Do let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. And that's all for now, and I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.